Hi, it's Maureen Muldoon, and today's lesson is I am never upset for the reason I think with A Course in Miracles. So this lesson is really interesting because it helps me to remember I am never upset for the reason I think, but rather I am upset because I think. And I know that for me, I do an awful lot of thinking. I have an overactive mind, and I know that a lot of us today suffer from this ailment. And I know that if I thought half the thoughts that I think, I'd still be thinking too much. And actually, as this lesson shows us, that we don't really need to be thinking at all. Okay, so that sounds absolutely insane, doesn't it? What do you mean you don't need to be thinking at all? Well, our thinking is actually the way in which we try and edge out God. That's the way that our ego uses to edge out God. That it tells us that we need to be doing this thinking, that we need to be doing all this, this discussing, this judging, this measuring, this all of this stuff. And we don't. We don't need to be doing any of it. We could just be surrendered into the thoughts that we think with God, and that's one of the lessons that are coming up. The reason it is because, number one, my positive thoughts, my negative thoughts will block God, the thoughts I could be thinking with God, and my most positive thoughts will underestimate God. I don't know my own good. And you don't know your own good. We think we know, and we're scrambling around trying to make these things, but we're not really doing anything. These thoughts aren't really creating anything. These thoughts are thoughts that I've made up. So I have to move into the thoughts that God is creating through me. So it's kind of trippy, so let's just go into the lesson. Lesson 5. I am never upset for the reason I think. This idea, like the preceding one, can be used with any person, situation, or event you think is causing you pain. Apply it specifically to whatever you believe is the cause of your upset. Use the description of the feeling in whatever term seems accurate to you. The upset may seem to be fear, worry, depression, anxiety, anger, hatred. It's like a bad news buffet. Jealousy, any other number of forms. It does not matter. Each form becomes a proper subject for the exercise for the day. Apply the same idea to each of them separately is the first step in ultimately realizing or recognizing that they're all the same. They're all just another way that we block out God. So none of them are more important than the other. It goes on to say, when using the idea for today for a specific perceived cause of an upset in any form, use both the name of the form in which you see the upset and the cause which you ascribe to it. For an example, I am not angry at blank for the reason I think. I am not afraid of blank for the reason I think. So the name of the way that I feel upset could be I'm not jealous of blank for the reason I think. I'm not depressed about blank for the reason I think. So all of those feelings come under the same umbrella. And so it kind of helps us to see that they're all the same. But again, this should not substitute for practice periods in which you first search your mind for sources of upset in which you believe and forms of upset in which you think result. In these exercises, more than in the preceding ones, you may find it hard to be discriminate and to avoid giving greater weight to some subjects than others. It might help to precede the exercise with this statement: there are no small upsets. They are all equally disturbing to my peace of mind. So again, we might think that, the ego wants us to think, oh no, hold on to this upset. This one really you deserve. You're justified in being upset about this. Don't give it up. Hold on to it for dear life. So what this lesson is showing us is let's lay them all on the table and realize how ridiculous they all are. How about it? Then examine your mind for whatever is distressing you, regardless of how much or how little you think it is doing so. Because there's no little broken peace of mind. There's no degrees in being outside of peace. Either you're in peace or you're outside it. So if you've lost your peace to a broken fingernail or you've lost your peace to cancer, it doesn't matter. You have lost your peace. If somebody's upset over, getting a run in her stocking, and someone else is upset over, losing an election, they're both equally upset. They're both out of peace. So it doesn't really matter. It says, I cannot keep this form of upset and let others go. For this purpose of this exercise, then, I will regard them all as the same. Then search your mind for no more than a minute or so and try to identify a number of different forms of upset that are disturbing you, regardless of the relative importance you may have given them. Apply the idea for today to each of them using the name of both the source of the upset as you perceive it and the feeling as you've experienced it. Further examples are, I'm not worried about blank for the reason I think. I'm not depressed about blank for the reason I think. 3 or 4 times during the day is enough. So this is just a gentle beginning, examining our thoughts and recognizing that maybe we don't know our highest good. And maybe we can step away from our thinking a little bit. And maybe we could just allow the thoughts of God to come. Maybe we could be still and know God. So that's the goal, of really surrender all of our little thinking to the thinking of God. And we can remember that we're sacrificing nothing. We're just surrendering it. We're just going to lay this down for a little while. If this exercise feels uncomfortable, just consider it like just a scientific experiment. Just try it out. Just play around with it. And don't take it too seriously. The ego wants to take it seriously. It wants to make our upset places really serious and really important, and it wants us to hold on to them. So we're just going to play around with the idea of, what if I didn't get upset about this? What would happen? Just be curious about it. So that is Lesson 5 in A Course in Miracles. Thanks for joining me. Have a wonderful, blessed day.
When everything is beautiful,
God bless.
it's just another